Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for June 28th. Happy Saturday to you and happy wrestling weekend. Holidays today, Insurance Awareness Day. I wonder who invented that one, huh? International Body Piercing Day and Paul Bunyan Day. Those are the holidays. Birthdays today. There's only one person who, well, there's probably a lot of people that had birthdays today, but only one former WWE superstar who pushed Michael Cole up against the wall. That's right. John Heidenreich is 53 today. Hey, interested in roller derby? You want to be a skater, officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com. And join Rock City Roller Derby if you're in the men's team. Flower City Fear, FLOUR, flowercityfear.com. Always looking for volunteers. Got a lot of games going on. A little bit of a lull of the seasons right now, but Rock City is on their way to up in Canada, like an hour, almost looks like an hour northeast of Toronto. So kudos to them. Have a great game today. And we got some stuff we want to talk about. Let me introduce the cast and crew. I'm your humble host, the Cash Man. I'm joined by DC Dan Cole. DC, how is your day going?
Not so bad.
That's
How about
bad.
yours, Cash?
Pretty good so far. How's the weather there?
Hot.
Humid, huh?
Although, yeah, it's disgusting.
Uh,
Stay inside in the air conditioning the way nature intended.
There you go. That's right. That's how humanity, if humanity is to survive, air conditioning is a necessity, in cars, in houses, all that stuff. But nice to see you. So we got some things we want to talk about today. Obviously, Night of Champions starts in about a couple hours from now. Corporate Money Punk. Some SmackDown difficulties last night, which we'll probably start with, and All In TV schedule coming up. We got a lot, it is the world of pro wrestling. The Night of Champions is this weekend. Last night, and we'll start, and I think it was really interesting, is last night, right in the beginning of SmackDown, you may have noticed it on TV. They did try to do some incredible editing to make it not look as bad, but they had they had a power out, like, I don't know, a couple minutes into the show. Power went out totally in the arena, and I guess Randy Orton had to fill for like 30 minutes before they could resume the show. And so he was like, talking to the audience. And boy, that is a real tough situation, being stuck out there, knowing what the plan is of the show and then having the power go out. They had difficulties getting into Riyadh. Yes, most of the wrestlers, wasn't an easy trip in. They were trapped in Qatar, I guess, for a while, or I don't know what QATAR, Qatar.
Tar.
I don't know. That's where they had the world, was it the World Cup of
Yeah,
soccer?
it was the last World Cup
Yeah, I remember that because I was like, oh, good, they're going to play in the desert,
in
soccer.
120 degrees in the summer.
Yeah, yeah, but they did have air conditioned stadiums, open stadiums that were air conditioned, and I don't know how they did it.
How the hell does that work?
Wasted a lot of money. It's a
Yeah,
lot of.
you turn on your air conditioning, then open all your windows. Tell me how it works for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, so they finally made it last night, and I'll read you some of the things that happened because of that. So Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton were to kick the show off with a heated verbal showdown. The segment aired. If you saw it last night on TV, I believe it was partially recorded with a phone. I swear to God, you got to go back and watch it. The quality, it switches all of a sudden, and it looks like someone's holding a phone at ringside, walking around with it, taking the videos and stuff. But it was due to a huge power out. The show, they had to go back and edit it. Obviously, that's another thing, is the crew, once they got done with the show, they had to go back and fix so many pieces that went wrong during the show that I'm guessing that they're probably exhausted today going into the Night of Champions. So hopefully nothing bad happens. But yeah, when they showed it on USA, it looked like it was filmed with a handheld camera or a cell phone. And there's an on-screen graphic that popped up saying that the Cody Rhodes Randy Orton segment experienced technical difficulties during the live recording from Riyadh, and they want to thank us for our patience. And even Michael Cole came and said something about it right after that too. So thought it was really interesting. I read a little bit more into it. It says a report later came out saying that several matches were cut short due to the power outage. The disrupt, they had some great matches last night, nonetheless. But They did not. Talent were informed of the situation in real time. To fill the gap, Randy Orton engaged a live crowd, interacting with fans at his entrance. Music played roughly 25 minutes after the outage.
Oof.
Yeah. Cody made his entrance and the screens came back on. Carmelo Hayes then appeared in street clothes only to be hit with a crossroads. The entire disruption lasted about 30 minutes. So that's a heck of a way to start off this weekend for WWE SmackDown. You know, they got there. And you know, they I'll give them credit. They got, excuse me, they got a 3-hour show last night, but it was choppy and it was there were some good matches. I mean, we had a last woman standing for the women's title, which was a pretty good match. And we had so a title change as well. Vega lost her belt. And so, but beyond that, I don't know. Did you get a chance to see any of the their make goods last night? When I had to watch it, I heard about it when I was at and during the day I heard about it that it had died. So it's like I was curious. I didn't get to see it till rerun after I went to a ball game last night and came home and watched it. It was like, oh, it's like something I would do on my phone. You know, it was like, did you get a chance to see any of that, DC?
I have not had the chance to see it. I was following online though yesterday
Yeah.
as it was happening live that they were having some severe technical issues there.
I guess even and even when they weren't, it wasn't even when it wasn't like the Powers' fault. I guess CM Punk screwed up big time in the promo he does at the end of the show with John Cena last night, where he mispronounced something. Or
Yeah, that was very unnatural. I did see that part.
yeah, that was a go back and watch it. It was kind of fun. You know, he come out and did Thugonomics, and uh, kind of gotten in Cena's face. I mean, I don't suspect we're going to see any major changes after this pay-per-view, elite, championship wise, but that's going on. Yeah. Just in a couple hours here. So I believe their pregame starts at 11 and the show starts at 1. So, but they also, one big thing, big plus that it was announced is that, no more 3-hour SmackDowns on Fridays, which I am super stoked about that. It's like we knew it was coming. They had said it was going to happen, then they changed, then they said it wasn't, and then last week we got the definitive word that it was definitely happening for the July. Is it July 4th? Yeah, it's July. Is that July 4th on Friday, going to a 2-hour show, and from then on. So, yeah, I'm not that excited about what's going on today. I'll have it on while I'm doing like house cleaning and stuff, but it's like I don't suspect much. You have any thoughts on the Night of Champions, DC?
Not tuning in. Nothing there interests me. Sorry to say. Plus, I do have a track record of refusing to watch any of the Saudi stuff.
I gotcha. And so mentioning that, last night they were there and all the women were like in the potato sacks again, and they had a lot
be so comfortable.
I wonder, it's like, I guess it helps. You could put more padding in there for like when you have a last woman standing match, because Tiffany looked like she definitely had a more padded type of bodysuit going on last night. But so let's talk a little bit about Phil Brooks. And apparently, I did not see this officially, but apparently he apologized for a tweet about Saudi Arabia blood money that he had sent to The Miz when he wasn't part of the company. And he came out and said it had nothing to do with Saudi Arabia. It had, So it's interesting is, corporate shill punk, you could say, corporate, player, corporate man, corporate, I think that, it just shows you, maybe, obviously what was happening over in his time in AEW was definitely, definitely was part of this guy who says one thing and does another constantly. But he had the crowd behind him, that's for sure, last night. But what did you think about, did you see there actually was a thing where he apologized to Saudi. Did you get to see any of that? I mean, it was like,
I did the very insincere glib, I'm going to bring it up and then say, I apologize. Here's my question, and I should know better, but I've been engaging with debates on people on wrestling forums about this, which nobody wins when you do that. But here's my question. What is he apologizing for?
Yeah, I mean, it's if he's apologizing,
What are you sorry that you did?
he's apologizing. I think he's saying he said later that he apologized to the Miz for bad mouthing him, but it's more than just that. I mean, it was, and I wonder if that was like something that I mean, obviously we brought it up for the few weeks here. I'm sure other people have. I've seen that tweet forwarded a gazillion times in the past week.
Even though he deleted it.
Yeah. So deleting tweets. If you do
Yeah,
it once,
it works out so well.
Yeah, if you do it once, it's good there forever someplace. So I think that I think WWE people said I think we got to do something about this because this is like freaking on fire right now on the internet, and that's why he did that apology thing.
And he got booed when he came out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, of course, because it's these same
even
blood
after he apologized. I think half the crowd was still like, "Nah, not believing you."
They were cheering him though at the end of SmackDown, but I believe I heard that was inserted in the post production.
Wouldn't surprise me.
That was like they said a lot of stuff had to be fixed, and so they had to make him look like the good guy, last night. And it was like I have to go back and watch the end of that again because he was standing in the crowd at the very end of the show, and it's like, but to me it was very lukewarm. I think he's definitely not going to get cheered at all, and he probably shouldn't be there. There's probably a lot of people who aren't there because they still have morals and stand up for themselves because we know like people like AJ Styles has never been there for a show. Obviously Bryan Danielson when he was part of WWE. I see that that Bayley's not there because she was at the NHL draft last night. So there's still a few people out there that I'm guessing refuse to work there, and it's
but like even people that change, like Sami Zayn's a great example. Like he kind of addressed like I'm doing this for the people there. Like it has nothing to do with the government. I want to do something for the people. Fine. Yeah. I believe that. But then if Punk says the same thing, there's the clip of him walking through and a kid approaches him and he pushes him out of the way. Like, like I don't here's the thing, Cash. Think back of all the drama Punk has had with all the people across all the promotions. It tends to seem like more often than not, the people on the opposite side of him are the people in the right.
Yeah.
In the long run. It may not seem like it in the moment, but in the long run, I think everybody's been right about him.
Yeah. And we hope he'll just go back and crawl underneath the rock he came out from,
I mean, he's probably getting good money for this, so maybe he will.
Like he said to John Cena last night, he goes, 6 months, you're gone. 6 months, I'm still going to be here. So it's like, okay.
Okay. He's one disagreement away with somebody from leaving again.
Oh, just wait till Triple H is in charge, and whenever that may happen, I'm guessing things will change. I mean, John Cena called him Mr. TKO when he was cutting the pipe bomb. And it's like, because apparently he sucks up and shakes hands and kisses butts, which he is the one who confronted with Cena last night saying that's what he does. And it's like, I don't know, to get to be the top in the wrestling. I don't think it's just ability. I think you really do have to have some politics going and people in your corner, and to get people in your corner, you have to kiss up to them. So, it's like,
and what choice does someone like, Punk have when, people say burn bridges? He didn't burn his bridge with WWE. He nuked it.
Yeah. So
what option does he have except to be over the top and gracious and accommodating when coming back?
Yeah. Until and it's I've heard little rumors that he's still difficult to work with. Even now that he's in WWE, he's still difficult to you have to plot the matches out and stuff, and he's still things he will and will not do, so I mean, that's him anyways, I mean, that's him wherever he's been, he's difficult or thinks he knows better than the people who are booking the shows. So we'll see what happens today. I'm feeling that John Cena will still be champion, and I'm hoping at least because I don't think we're ready for CM Punk yet to be champ. You give him a lower belt, that's fine, but I don't think we're ready
We're
for it.
headed smack dab to the rematch of WrestleMania at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I guess we find out tonight too, because not only do we have, I'll go down the card very quickly while we're talking about it, because I hate to bring it up later on the show after we've already discussed it, but we've got the finals of the King in the Ring and the Queen in the Ring, and so we got Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. That probably be kicking the show off. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. Would that? I guess that would be a Riyadh street fight, or I don't know. Yeah, I can't imagine two women fighting, in the street. Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sequoia for the U.S. Championship, and then Jacob last night kind of like mended the fences with Jimmy Uso, so maybe Jimmy will be in his side. He agrees. I wish I had done the same thing you had done to Solo. So, Asuka versus Jade Cargill for Queen of the Ring tournament final. That's going to be good. I think they have really booked Jade Cargill strong in this tournament. I mean, beating some quality opponents. So we have Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes, which was kicked off last night's SmackDown. If you saw it, it was, I'm gonna have to go back and watch again because all of a sudden I wasn't really paying that close attention. And I looked up and it's like, oh, it looks like me at the ringside. I mean, it was like not even ringside camera. It was like maybe someone who was like maybe a couple of people deep into the crowd. I don't know what they did. I mean, it just looks very weird because you see, like, I think you see things in the way of the camera while they're being videoed. So definitely not your television quality, which, that's neither here or there. They never have really done, I think, a live show before a show there before. I think and I think so that's, they had to get there set up and do everything. And then you never know when power kicks out, and also it's a very dangerous area. Right after we got off the air last week, that's when America decided to drop some bunker busters or whatever in Iran to supposedly curtail their nuclear program. But that just that just made everyone think, man, the Middle East is a place you don't want to be right now. And I'm guessing they may still be feeling that a
Let
little.
me book my travel there now.
Oh, darn it. I was going to Baghdad too. What's going on? It's like, no. So yeah, so it kind of, I think saner minds took over in our
Mm,
in our
mm.
enough to the point where they said they're not going to be fighting anymore and they've had a ceasefire. So I'll give them that. That's a little bit more of a saner mind, but I guess after you get beat down, I guess you have to do that. So we got Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. One last, John Cena, CM Punk for the WWE Championship in the main event. They're all over there. I know that like people had travel issues and were stuck in other places for a while, and but they are all over there now. As you saw on SmackDown last night, they showed them all walking into the arena. It probably was really when they were walking in too, with their travel delays. So that's today, yeah, we won't talk about it anymore after this, but it was supposed to have Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles, but that got pulled due to quote unquote Dom suffering an injury. I don't think AJ's been in, like I said, in Saudi Arabia since they've been doing it, and probably didn't want to anyway. So maybe it's just, maybe it's fat chance that they got lucky and Dominic got hurt, sprained his ankle, or maybe it's a lie. And,
One never knows with the
yeah.
E.
Yeah, that's right. So, you won't be watching, but I will definitely be watching. Because, like I said, I'll keep it on in the background while I'm like doing like the laundry and things like that. So, but it's definitely not, I don't have, it doesn't feel like a pay-per-view, and it hasn't really ever felt like a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia, except when they added like these new names to matches, like greatest Royal Rumble ever, or what was that? The best wrestler in the world? Is that what the Shane McMahon one?
Oh God, yes.
It's when they turn tournaments into things that nobody cares about, and
I can't wait till they figure out what they're going to call their WrestleMania they're going to do over there,
I hope
supposedly.
I hope it never happens.
The greatest WrestleMania ever.
There you go. Yeah, it'll have to be It sounds like somebody else talking when I hear you put great, you put these adjectives on everything, fabulous. All right. So, that was last night's SmackDown to start the show or start the weekend there in Saudi Arabia, which, it does not start off on the right foot. I'm sure they'll probably do better today. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. And we already like bash Punk a bit. So we talk a little bit about AEW this past week. What'd you feel? How'd you feel about AEW? Had two solid shows on Wednesday and Thursday this past week. I mean, got your money's worth, whether you're there or watching at home. I thought some good movement and storyline. Obviously, All In's 3 weeks away, less than 3 weeks now. Or no, 3 weeks away. We're
2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. We're still in June. It's hard to believe, but because May was cold here in Rochester. So, but
did you guys know what to do with the heat this week?
Had 290-degree days. Insane. It's like, yeah, it was. Everyone's air conditioning went on, and then power outs happened.
Rolling power outages.
Yeah, that happened. So yeah, it was that kind of week. But man, then we got downpours like last night or 2 nights ago, and then thunder and lightning. And we're getting all sort of hell on earth type weather. So, I think it's supposed to rain again today though, as well. But this is a perfect weekend because everyone's having graduation parties too. So if you've got a graduation party, you got someone graduating your family. You might be indoors for a bit, but so I was watching. Yeah, so as I was watching AEW this week, there's some solid stuff, solid matches on. I was really impressed with Dynamite as well as Collision, and it's like I completely forgot that they were going back to back nights again, which is kind of a bummer because it's like what's funny is they pulled better numbers on Saturdays when they were on even because it's a Saturday, usually not a high television watching night, it still has done better on Saturdays than it has when they, but then again, it's like a floating time for them too. It's like, you're not sure what day of the week it's going to be on. I guess let me go to my notes. I do have something as we build up to All In. They did kind of put out their live TV schedule for the rest of all the way up to that point. And we don't get another live, especially after this week, we don't get another live Collision until like the end of July now. Let's see. Yeah. So it's like let's see, July 10th edition of Collision that'll be live on TNT on July 10th. This will serve as the go home show for the All In Texas. So we've got that on the 10th, which would be another a Wednesday night show, right? Or Thursday night show.
Thursday night.
Yeah. So it'd be another Thursday night show. And then
next week's the 300 and the 100, right?
Yeah, we
300th Dynamite, 100th Collision.
Got actually some really good lineups for those shows too, which we'll get to here when I get to the news and stuff. But yeah, so then AEW scheduled to tape the 19th episode, July 19th episode of Collision in advance on the 17th from Chicago when they're doing those series of shows from Chicago. And then Collision will return live on the 31st from Chicago. So that'll be on Saturday. Live on Thursday. So it doesn't look it's going to be going back to Saturday for some time, or maybe ever. It's like Thursday.
Well, now's the time for them to test things out. Only sporting stuff going on right now is baseball, which I don't imagine is a big draw. I mean, I never watch baseball on TV. So.
Just in local markets, I mean, like, when the Yankees play, I'm sure they draw good numbers, and
yeah,
but yeah, overall, nobody, that's why you don't get a lot of those national baseball games anymore because it's very regional for, where you get the numbers from,
They don't have to worry about the NBA playoffs. They don't have to worry about the NHL playoffs.
It's like when you look at
Test things out.
When the Buffalo Bills play home and they're on TV, the numbers are insane here in this area. I mean, it's like, we're talking like, like between 30 and 40% of people with their TVs on are watching the football game. So, which is, I mean, nowadays when you get, a ranking of 2.4 million watching your show, you're super excited. when you get 40%, you can sell advertising at a higher rate, and that's usually what it is. But one other thing I wanted to mention about AEW was there's a guy. I don't know if you've been following the politics in New York City with the mayoral race or the governor race, no, mayoral race of New York City. The guy who won it, his name is Zoran Mamdani, and he's the one who won the nomination for the Democrat to run for the mayoral race. He revealed he's an AEW fan. They had footage of him attending the 2021 Grand Slam event. And so he's a young guy too. And they said he's a progressive thinker and he beat all these other old guys who were running for it.
So of course we're going to slander him now as a terrorist and an anti-Semite.
Well, of course,
because his skin is brown.
It's a shame, but that's unfortunately, that's, I think people prey on fear, man. That's how WWE works. I just saw Jinder Mahal got married this week. And did you see the pictures?
I saw the 3MB reunion. Yeah.
They're all, yeah. So I thought that was pretty sweet. They're all dressed like Arab princes, they had like the full body suit on with a headdress and everything. Very, very cool stuff. So, but yeah, it's sad. It's a sad situation when people, just because your skin's a different color, they base preconceived notions on you. And it's like, but it did not work in New York City, obviously, this past week because, Cuomo, our former governor of the state, got bounced, which I don't have a problem with that. It's like, I don't play politics either side, but I put, good people and bad people. I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's just, horny. I don't know, something,
I wouldn't say he's a good person.
No. I know. He's like, well, technically sexually abusing, not abusing, but, making comments and stuff.
Would he be the first mayor of New York with nipple piercings?
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. He was the first governor. We know that. We don't want to go any farther, but that's pretty funny stuff. So I'm just gonna jump into some news and then we'll move on. Maybe there'll be a quick show today because so this past week, Pat McAfee, it was the third straight week Pat McAfee has not been on Monday Night Raw, and he came out. He came out this past week on his show and said, I won't be on commentary tonight. Just taking some time off to catch up on life between Money in the Bank and Night of Champions feels like the right window because I was starting to feel pretty exhausted. Big shout out to everyone in WWE for looking out for me. He's very grateful. So he'll be back. I just, the travel's probably killing him. He does his own show and they're always on the road. And WWE, it's like if you're working for WWE solely, then you probably get used to it, but when you're working two jobs, it catches up with you. So McAfee, so I don't know when McAfee will be back, maybe next week when they come back and they're in Pittsburgh on Monday night. So, but, it's been weird without him. It's been weird that Michael Cole has been like, saying he's missing and missing and missing. He probably shouldn't even said anything about it. And just like, but then again, a lot of times when you hear nothing about someone not being there, they never show up again. So I'm guessing Pat will be back, but college football is coming up soon too. So, how long will he be back? Until college
temporarily.
Football. Yeah. And I don't know if he's that big of a deal. I've mentioned it before and it's like, I think anybody who's trying to get the camera on them and get the, like when he dances on the table and stuff, that's kind of like, I think wrestlers may feel that he's like trying to steal a little of their stuff, but it just shows he's into it. I get that. Yes, everyone's dancing in the crowd and he gets up on the table and dances. Just happens to be the only one around the ring on top of a table dancing and, and it always gets on camera. But that's my only beef with him is that he, I think, some people may see it as that, it's like you try not to ever outshine the product you're selling. And I think he gets a lot of hype about that. And I could be wrong. And if I am if Pat doesn't agree with, I'm sure he's like, cause he like gets into it. He lives it, so I would not. So, but that's just my beef, my little bit of part, but he does a great job besides that. I enjoy his work with WWE. So, some other stuff with WWE, the Unreal docu-series is going to be coming out Tuesday, July 29th on Netflix. It's good. There are going to be 50-minute episodes of the show that will include behind the scenes footage from the writers' room and outside the ring. So it's kind of like if you ever been to a WWE show and you get in like maybe say 5 or 6 hours early, you'll see them practicing what they're going to do on the show later that night. I've seen them. I've seen it before. They'll walk through and they'll do, they'll discuss and, and obviously they'll have like scripts too in their hands when they're doing it. So it's like, I'm hoping we see some of that stuff. I know that if they're going to do the writer's room, I mean, you might as well show everything, if you're going to show that. Have you ever seen that before, Danny? You ever seen them like working on stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, actually. I remember in WCW, obviously, we were there when Jeff Jarrett and Diamond Dallas Page walked through the entire cage match in which Diamond Dallas Page won the title in Rochester. And we were there with them the whole time because we were like set up as people, I had a beer in my hand and Andrew the Authority had a crutch and they were going to grab the crutch and Jarrett was going to bash DDP with it, and then DDP was going to grab the beer out of my hand and throw it in Jarrett's face. But the crowd control was bad, and it collapsed around us while that was going on, so they never were able to get to that point. And they never gave me a beer either, so I had to go buy my own. So it's like,
Well, then at least you got to drink.
Yeah, I got one drink while I was there. So, but it was just cool watching all the matches of the night getting stepped out. In the ring, they would come out and so it's one of those things. If you want to believe in kayfabe, then don't watch this. Okay. Don't watch it because this is like, you'll see the politics working, I'm guessing, with like writers and stuff.
And I find that's really funny timing too. Like, let's go back a couple weeks ago to the whole R-Truth situation. And, in one of those post-event press scrums, somebody asked Triple H about it. He's like, "Oh, are you enjoying it? All part of the show." So now you're just like pulling back the curtain. Like, do you not? So we're done with kayfabe in WWE.
It's funny is that R-Truth's kid came out after that and like,
yeah, it's like, no, don't believe them.
Yeah, he was
which anybody that has an ounce of smarts knows not to trust them anyway. So.
They're not going to make themselves look bad in any sort
Never.
of press release or anything, even if they were in the wrong. And they were in the wrong, obviously, with R-Truth. Still don't know what he's doing yet. He was on last night. He got taken out by Damian.
Say going into a program now with Aleister Black.
Yeah, or Aleister Black. Yeah, and Damian Priest is involved in it somehow too, because he was like yelling at Aleister Black backstage after it. So. I don't know. I don't feel like they've recovered with him yet. I think they're forcing him in there because of the backlash, but I don't think he started to cut a promo and he said, and he used all his catchphrases and everything and then got taken out by Aleister Black. So, but yeah, I still don't think they know what they're doing. So, this past week we got ratings numbers. Things look good. AEW Dynamite was down a little bit from their Grand Slam Mexico show. Which I was really surprised at the numbers that drew for that because it's like, but man, maybe it gives them a hint, maybe do some more stuff with CMLL and and Mystico because he's a big name, Sin Cara. Apparently WWE is interested in him again, which is fun. I find kind of funny.
Surprise.
They must watch AEW because it's like they see how over this guy was, and it's like. It just surprises me. Now they're like, well, maybe we're interested in him again. It's like, yeah, especially after you made, him come out and jump on a trampoline every time he came out to the ring, and then change the light the light color of the ring while he was wrestling. So, but the numbers look pretty good. Netflix, WWE, this June 16th show pulled 2.7 million, which was down a little bit from their 2.9. It made them the ninth largest show on Netflix. So they're still pulling great numbers. Like I said, AEW is a little bit down. It's interesting that the NXT on CW it was just a little bit down from usually what it is. But it's interesting. It's some great numbers this past week, but we had Collision, unfortunately. That's where we saw the numbers for Collision being down a bit, just because nobody's used to Thursday nights yet. So we'll see. Unfortunately, I feel bad because it's also the same night that TNA is on, and they are on at the same time. Except you have, a better chance you're going to see AEW than TNA because you have to subscribe to that stupid access channel to get it. Some injury news from this past week. Let's see where I can find it. I mentioned Dominic Mysterio it was a rib cage injury. I thought it was a sprained ankle. It was a rib cage injury that's keeping him off tonight's show against AJ Styles. Chad Gable, they wrote off on Monday night. Apparently, they didn't say what injury he's dealing with, but apparently he has to go under surgery. And so they kind of, Penta had like a fit going through the backstage area and took out Chad Gable and put him in an arm bar and super kicked him. And I think that, and they kind of wrote him off for a while because Chad, but I wonder if El Americano there will be showing up at all. Maybe somebody else might be doing that character for a little bit while Chad's hurt. Casey Catanzaro, you might remember Katana Chance. I think she was in WWE. She revealed when she was cut in the May cuts recently. She had surgery to fix a broken nose that she'd gotten a bit ago in WWE. So she was posting pictures about that. So news is Hall of Famer Trish Stratus is going to be coming back soon to WWE. She's on the verge of making her return. She was originally supposed to be slated for the June 13th episode of SmackDown, but they canceled it for some strange reason. But they have a whole package and they have a lot of things all ready for her to come back. So we'll be seeing Trish Stratus back. She looks great, by the way, and she's doing all the conventions and stuff now. So they probably want to, get her up off those conventions and back on the road with WWE. So kudos to her. Also, this is not a great return, but it looks like Vicky Guerrero is coming back to WWE. She's
rather see her back than Nikki Bella.
Yeah, it's funny. We've seen Nikki Bella, and then we haven't really seen her much since she got beat up by.
They're scrambling to figure out what to do with her because Liv got injured.
Yeah, Liv took her out, and then it's like now we can't follow up on that. So. But Vicky Guerrero's been telling her friends she's going to be back with, and we're all assuming it's going to be WWE Evolution, which takes place July 13th in Atlanta, Georgia. So don't be surprised if you hear "excuse me," in your nightmares. But I don't know. I mean, you know what? She kind of had a problem at the end of her AEW career with not supporting her daughter who was sexually assaulted by her husband or something. I don't remember, some convoluted story like that. And her daughter, who's married to a wrestler as well, I believe. So, look for Vicky Guerrero to be back soon. I don't want to mention this guy's name, but I've seen so much stuff about him this past week. I don't know what's true or not. Is Hulk Hogan dying? Danny, have you seen? I've seen it from both sides. Apparently, Bubba the Love Sponge says he's been he's on his deathbed in a hotel or in a hospital. Have you seen any of that stuff?
I have not. Is it a reaction to the abysmal ticket sales for his Real American Wrestling?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. I hope that he's not dying because of that. But I don't want anybody to die. But I don't want But it's
right.
Like above the Love Sponge, a guy who obviously has an inside with Hogan, said he is having
a little bit.
Yeah. Or maybe his wife did.
Maybe his wife.
He came out and said this week twice that Hogan was hospitalized for neck and back issues, and he said he's not doing very well. I don't know if I should believe that or not because Hulk Hogan's got his hands in so many things. What would happen if Hulk Hogan, passed away? I mean, would we stop seeing these Great American Beer commercials on Monday Night Raw? I mean, he was on tour not that long ago supporting this. So I can't, I just don't, what's his name? Bubba Clem or whatever the hell his name is. The guy, he's trouble. He caused problems when Hulk Hogan was in TNA. I'm not a big fan of people who are shock jocks who don't know how to do radio beyond being like offensive. So, and that's him, I mean,
like Kimberly and Beck.
With some of those people we don't know anymore. There's if you got to be offensive to get people to listen to you, it's not my cup of tea. I don't like haters. I don't like people that come out and hate something, and then try to rally people against it. But not saying that Bubba was like that. But Bubba was he was part of the Clear Channel family at one time, and iHeart, but he caused a lot of problems in wrestling. And but he's been the one who's been saying Hogan's in bad shape. Nobody else is. Jimmy Hart's the one we got to look for, come out with a statement, because Jimmy Hart is usually attached to Hogan by the hip wherever he goes. So, but yeah, I did want to mention that, and also that his great real American freestyle wrestling, that him and Eric Bischoff got paid a lot of money to represent. I mean, started a company, has only sold 380 tickets for their August 30th debut in a 13,077 seat stadium in it's the Wolstein Center in Cleveland State University in Cleveland. That's sad. I mean, nobody I know is asking for a mix of professional and amateur wrestling. I mean, it's like day or night. It's like I don't see any. The only
Pick a
connection
lane.
the only connection is maybe some, it's a contact sport, and you do a lot of the things that look like it hurts that would hurt in like amateur wrestling, but like neck, like headlocks and things like that, and arm bars and stuff. But it has really nothing to do with professional wrestling. I mean, it means you can move around, and you can get people into positions like submission positions and make it look real. But I mean, if you really put the pressure on, it probably would knock somebody out. But that's not what your mission is in pro wrestling. It's to put on a good match, So yeah, I've never. There's been other people in the past, like Pride. There's a company used to be in Japan named Pride that had a mix of pro wrestling and shoot fighting. Just never really caught on. There were some really great guys who fought in UFC and MMA after that, but it's just not something that crosses over. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's still set for an August 30th debut in Cleveland. And they said that the venue's configured for 3,882 seats, which means over 90% of the tickets remain available. At 66 days before the show. So if you want to go and support Hulk Hogan, man, make your way to Cleveland, brother, by August 30th and go see his show, brother.
I would say if you want to get your tickets and support Hulk Hogan, why?
True. Hulk Hogan is a generation.
I know he's always going to have his fans, yeah, because of like you're kind of indicating there, like a generational superstar. But
he made a lot of people money, and a lot of people are very loyal to him, because when he was wrestling, everybody made more money on the card from the top to the bottom. So it changed the business, but he's also the most political person on the planet. And I, if you ever watch that Dark Side of the Ring about the Bash at the Beach, that there's truths on both sides of that, of what happened. Not to say that I believe Vince Russo, but I do feel that there's a lot of truth behind what he says. So beyond that, Hulk Hogan also, whether he's lying almost dead in a hospital or going to Cleveland, he's opening a new restaurant in across from Madison Square Gardens. It's in New York City. The venue's called Slam, and it's going to be span 9,000 square feet. Costs approximately $7 million. It will be situated at 461 8th Avenue, at the corner of 31st Street, right across from the traditional Madison Square Gardens wrestler entrance. So he wants to open a restaurant there. So I have a feeling that maybe Bubba doesn't know what he's talking about. And Hogan, I mean, I can understand if he has back problems and stuff, maybe being hospitalized because of that, but I don't think he's on his way to passing away anytime too soon. Like I said, I don't root for anyone to die. So,
Hulk Hogan's on his deathbed. Terry Bollea is fine.
Yeah. Oh, the character Hulk Hogan's been dead. Obviously, it was used as a joke in last night's promo between Cena and Punk. They mentioned it was. I mean, when they're using Hogan as a joke in the promo, that will kill him. I mean, if anything, I'm sure people were mad about that. I know he probably was if he heard it. So
he was probably the only one.
I heard it and I'm like, oh, is it okay now to take shots at Hogan in a promo? I guess it is. Okay, so some other news. Travis Kelce held his annual Tight End University last Tuesday and featured a surprise appearance by, whoa, surprise, Taylor Swift. By the way, when I went to the baseball game, the Red Wings game last night, it was like Taylor Swift night or something. The guy who was like spinning the tunes was DJ Swift. That was his name, and all they did was do mix-ups of Taylor Swift, but because we had an hour rain delay, the fireworks show didn't start till 10:30 or whatever. Or I didn't get home till very late last night, but speaking of Taylor Swift, she played an impromptu song at the Travis Kelce fundraiser, and Bailey, Sheamus, and Grayson Waller were all there. I saw a picture from that. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Um, so, cool. Kudos to him. And speaking of other tight ends in football, your guy, George Kittle, once again was quoted as saying when he finds football no longer fun, he's going to make his way to WWE. And now his best friend Penta's there. So
I could see a tag team mix up match at a future WrestleMania.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you got footage of Penta. I mean, it was AEW that I think showed the footage when they were on the sidelines with Penta at the 49ers game. Very, very, very interesting. I'm sure some people cannot wait. Definitely cannot wait. So speaking of Bailey, last night was the NHL draft, and the number 2 pick in the draft was San Jose's, and they brought out Bailey to make the pick. Fresh red blue hair now for Bailey, and I'm guessing Bailey's not going to be in Riyadh today, unless she's flying straight from where they were last night. But yeah, she got to announce this. They were using like celebrities to do the picks in the NHL. It's unfortunately hockey. It's not like the NBA. It's not like, it's not like the football draft picks because they're picking people from minor leagues and, colleges and stuff. And you really got to follow hockey to really know who anybody is. And I don't. So it didn't mean anything to me watching it. But it's nice they use Bailey. Bailey rocks. So
Are the NBA and NHL seasons getting longer? Because I did not realize they had their drafts so close to the end of the previous season.
oh yeah, I think yeah. Yes, without a doubt. Some, if although, the thing about the playoffs in both those leagues is now they have set dates for them. So if you finish your playoff round early, you get to wait for the next one. So you don't, it's not in the olden days, they used to start it 2 games after, or like as soon as you'd win it, if both teams were available, they would immediately start them. But now they have like set dates. So they both went deep into June this year, which is hockey in June. It just doesn't, it doesn't really,
Doesn't seem right.
I wish Rob was here because he might have I'm sure he was watching the draft. I know that, but I was watching it, but we were in the box at the Red Wings game and I did not care. It was like, I kept trying to switch it over to SmackDown and they kept like going, what are you doing? Turn it back to the hockey draft. It's like, yeah, but I don't know any of these people. You don't know any of these people. So, but you're going to watch Dynamite tonight, or I'm sorry, Dynamite this week. This show is the 300th episode on Wednesday, and you're going to get Okada versus Ibushi. Wow.
The fact that is going to be on free TV blows my mind.
Yeah. That's crazy. Going to get Mercedes Moné versus Mina Shirakawa for the TV.
Another one that should be good.
And MJF versus Brody King versus Anthony Bowens versus AR Fox in a casino gauntlet match qualifier. Why do you have to have a qualifier for the casino gauntlet match? Isn't it like
it's for position? Position's important.
That's right. I forgot. Yeah.
The sooner you're out, the more opportunity you have to win the match.
Yeah, the gauntlet can end before everybody's in the match, right?
Yes.
That's right. Has not happened yet, but it's been theorized it can happen. So this week's Dynamite is taking place from Ontario, California, the Toyota Arena. The Saturday. Oh, so Saturday Collision will be on, but it'll be taped on Wednesday. So, and we're going to get FTR versus the Outrunners. I don't know if you saw that promo they cut between each other. It was great. I loved it. It was a little come to earth, come to God stuff. I thought it was a great. I love seeing when they like you tear down the characters and then the guys like really start to speak from the heart about their characters, and I thought that was great during the promo. So, but that's the only thing so far set for the 100th episode of Collision. And like I said, that's going to be taped as well. And so that will be on Saturday. So there we get one on Saturday. This weekend's coming up is the July 4th weekend. And so it's like July 4th is Friday. So pretty much 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's going to be tough to get anybody to stay inside. Usually it's picnic time and family time. But if you're going to get SmackDown on Friday and you're going to get Collision on Saturday. And SmackDown, I think, is from Pittsburgh, too. I think both Raw and SmackDown are from Pittsburgh this week. I thought maybe both from Pennsylvania, but I thought, that's, it's tough. It's like always tough around the holiday seasons to get a lot of stuff, to get a lot of people to watch. Usually the numbers are down, like the first week of football season too. It's like you're not going to get a whole ton of people watching TV, but they try. I mean, listen. I think without a doubt, Wednesday you're going to be a good night to watch some like I said, Okada and Ibushi. Man, it's like that's New Japan Pro Wrestling main event right there from a couple of years ago. And Okada, I'm excited because I want to see Okada wrestle more. I mean, and we definitely, I love that he gives everybody the finger, even his guys he's friends with, but I want to see, and obviously he's very confident. He's definitely a main event kind of guy. I know he's holding that Continental Championship belt right now, but I'd love to see him as champ too. I like to see everybody as champ, but I'd like to see him because one, he's coming from where he was champion for a long time. So, but yeah, exciting is needless to say about this week's Dynamite. Are you excited for this, DC? You got any plans for the fourth weekend?
Driving.
You coming up here?
Yeah.
Coming up to Ra-Cha-Cha. Let's hope that
I threw it out. We got to get together for All In.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, you're going to be here for over a week then.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pin
Danger for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'm going to pin Danger Boy down and we'll do it because the Danger.
Is Danger Boy still around?
He is. I saw him last night. He's on his way right now as we speak to Montreal. He's driving.
He's just a traveling man.
Yeah, he was in Detroit last weekend, and he's in Montreal this weekend. He's going to Montreal. I went to the ball game with him last night. He definitely is wanting to come back soon. So hopefully, his busy weekends are going to slow down soon. But I will talk to him on this week about it because I'd love to get together for All In as well. Because it's going to be the biggest show for AEW in the United States ever. So, and
get together, bring your ones, pass the belt time.
That's the belt. There we go. So I don't have anything more going on in my news. I mean, it was, unfortunately, most of WWE just builds up for what's going on today. Beyond that, but AEW, obviously putting on solid shows. If you like wrestling and not people talking for like 45 minutes, this past week was fantastic. You got a lot of quality wrestling matches on TV and also storyline progression. I definitely, I like to see, I'm loving Tony Storm. I can't wait to see Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné because Moné has been wrestling now and putting on some freaking star matches out there, man. Just, by the way,
I can't imagine the pressure on them right now, though.
Yeah.
Because there's expectations that they are going to put on, one of the greatest women's wrestling matches ever.
Everyone's expecting it. Did you see, what's her name? Queen
Aminata.
What's the name of her did you see Nigel calling out her move? Was it Black Hole or something like that?
I think so, something like that.
Yeah. And then he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, that's really it. And then Tony goes, yeah, I know. It's like, It's that thing that people love to do now that Stephanie Vacker does, where you kind of like do like exercises with someone's face into your butt while you're like, doing push-ups at the same time. Uh, and it was, I was like, I was listening to that and going, oh man, I'm surprised that did not get bleeped out or anything. But I think that I love the commentary team. I don't need four people in the booth though. I mean, it seems like with four people in the booth, it's less Tony, and it's like, and I know you ever notice Tony's voice gets higher when he gets excited. Tony boy, it does. It's like
I've loved the addition of Ian Riccaboni though.
I like. Oh no, Ian Riccaboni's great. He's a great storyteller. I think if it came down to you needed two of the four, I would go with him and Excalibur. I wouldn't need anybody
Yeah.
else. Though I do like Taz a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, and then throwing Don Callis on there every once in a while is always a lot of fun because throwing barbs back and forth at each other. So they have a good. Tony sometimes is the odd man out though. It's like you weren't sure he's there until you hear that high voice get excited about something, or they need an in-ring interview, but that's it for today, DC. I don't think I missed anything. I appreciate you coming. I know that I'm guessing Rob wasn't going to come after last week because he didn't. I was just joking when I said it was going to be a night of Champions preview show. We really did a pretty short time there, but he might have thought I was being serious about it. But and hopefully we'll get Danger back sometime soon. But I want to thank everybody in the chat room. And I know I'm sorry I'm bashing on Hogan. I know I see the message, and it's like I know. Believe me, I know his impact on the business for when he was in WCW and they had him wrestling Billy Kidman and the crowd was the loudest I saw the whole night between those two guys than anybody else on the card. I understand that. Yes.
It's okay to acknowledge somebody's contributions, but it's also okay to call out questionable ethics and behavior.
Exactly. And I mean, we do it all the time with our political leaders. So, he's not even a political leader, so but it's like,
just because you've done something impressive doesn't mean you should be immune from criticism.
Exactly. And because you've done something impressive doesn't mean that, everything you've done in your life has been sweet smelling, it's like, and people, when the word starts to make the rounds that, like Hogan said, when he got an opportunity to apologize for saying racial comments, his only thing was, if I knew there was a microphone or camera on, I wouldn't have said that. So what kind of apology is that? I mean, it's like
a CM Punk apology.
There we go. So I want to thank you guys for being in the chat room, man. You've got 2 hours now before the United Champions. We will be back. I'm not sure. Next Saturday will be the 5th of July, I think. So, I mean, isn't it crazy? We're already halfway done with the year. So I'm not sure.
These next 4 years need to go fast.
Yes, please. It's 3.5 now, right?
Unless we
put a crown on, but
ugh.
Thank you guys in the chat room. We'll see you at the same time next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See ya.